الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. One issue that always makes the news every year is the annual Hajj fair. Muslim faithfuls planning to go for the holy pilgrimage are always eager to hear if there is a decrease in the fair as compared to previous ones. The fact remains, however, that the computation of the Hajj fair is dependent on several factors. Hello and welcome to this episode of As You Answer the Call, the program which prepares you for holy pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia. On tonight's episode, we shall look extensively at the Hajj fair and the various considerations that go into it. But before we do so, we will take news highlights from recent happenings around the National Hajj Commission. Please stay tuned. On the news diary tonight, NAHCON inaugurates a task force on visa violation, even as it organizes ICT training for tour operators. These and more in a moment. More ad hoc committees are being inaugurated by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria NAHCON as preparations for the commencement of airlift operations for this year's Hajj gathers momentum. The committees are those for accommodation in Mecca and Medina, feeding, hand luggage monitoring, tents and mashair, and transportation.
How sincere and how dedicated you serve.
While inaugurating the committees in Abuja, NAHCON chairman Barrister Abdullah Mukhtar Muhammad urged members of the committees to discharge their duties diligently and make the interest of the pilgrims a priority.
You are organizing a service to people who are not part and parcel of the discussion and negotiation of what they want, how they want it, but you have been given the trust to do that on their behalf. Then you have to do it with fear of God. And if you are discharging it, you have to discharge it with all your strength, energy, and everything.
He further called on them to ensure that all service providers meet contractual obligations. Some key functions of the committees include, among others, allocating rooms to pilgrims, provisions of meals, maintenance of sanitation and security. The inauguration came after the conclusion of a 3-day induction program organized by NAHCON for all members of the committees. Meanwhile, as part of measures to check incidences of abscondment or overstaying of visa permits by Nigerian pilgrims during Hajj or Umrah, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria NAHCON has constituted a task force with the mandate of ensuring that all pilgrims are accounted for.
Those that will travel, you give them...
Speaking while unveiling the task force, NAHCON chairman Barrister Abdullah Mukhtar Muhammad, represented by the Commission's Commissioner of Operation, Abdullah Modibo Saleh, sheds more light on the work expected from the task force.
The task force shall liaise with relevant security agencies at airports to carry out its duties. 2. Identify intending abscondees for interviews and further action where necessary. 3. Liaise with AHUN membership as the case may be, especially during screening of international passengers. 4. Collaborate with officials of state Muslim pilgrim boards as at when appropriate.
The task force has its members drawn from NAHCON and security agencies.
You can also reduce this picture by going to the same resize again.
In a related development, NAHCON has mounted a training program for tour operators.
The training program, which took place in Abuja, was similar to the one organized for ICT officials of state pilgrims boards. The training was designed to acquaint members with the electronic portal registration for pilgrims registering for the 2019 Hajj with tour companies. Separate presentations were made on the two portals by officials of the ICT division of NAHCON. The training is part of NAHCON's policy of ensuring that pilgrims are provided better services.
Alhamdulillah, the program is As You Answer the Call, an enlightenment program on the activities of the National Hajj Commission aimed at equipping intending pilgrims with the necessary information for a successful Hajj exercise. The Hajj Fair for 2019 was recently announced. Prospective pilgrims are expected to pay about 1.4 million naira to perform this year's Hajj. But how are Hajj figures arrived at? That is what we shall be looking at in our Hajj and Umrah education.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة.
The issue of Hajj Fair has always generated discussions in the public space. During such forums, the lump sum is often given attention without looking at the components that go into the final figure. The fact that the fair is controlled by the dollar is also forgotten. The fact, however, remains that 98% of the components that make up the Hajj Fair are dollar-related, while only 2% are computed in the naira. The items that are determined by the US dollar are airfare or ticket, accommodation in Mecca and Medina, air conditioners at Arafah, United Agents fees, Tent C, and Ministry of Hajj deposit. Others are Muassasa, Arafat PVC tent, feeding at Mashair, feeding at airports, feeding at Mecca and Medina, plus accommodation for at least 35 days, as well as $800 basic travel allowance, which is equivalent to 244,800 naira, and only 1% CBN commission charge.
I would want our audience to understand that the Commission has tried as much as possible to manage the Hajj fairs. Right from 2017, the Hajj fair in the dollar component has been going down steadily. It was about $4,800 in 2017. It came down to about the range of $4,300 to $4,500 in 2018, and this year it's about the same, the same range.
For the year 2019, the initial Hajj fair for prospective pilgrims from the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT and armed forces, was pegged at 1.5 million naira. However, the amount has been reviewed downward as a result of reclassification of land transportation routes and the reduction in their rates as they relate to the routes to be used by Nigerian pilgrims. This was announced by the National Hajj Commission at a press briefing in Abuja.
Nigerian pilgrims from all states of the Federation, the FCT and Army forces are now to pay 51,170 naira 45 kobo less than the fares earlier announced. The Commission has directed all state Muslim Pilgrim Welfare Boards, state, the FCT and Army forces to immediately announce the review and commence refunds to pilgrims that have paid over the reviewed fare.
Consequently, apart from Lagos State, pilgrims from all the states of the Federation, the FCT and armed forces are expected to pay the new rate for the 2019 Hajj, which ranged from the lowest of about 1,408,000 naira to the highest of nearly 1,498,000 naira, depending on the state. Lagos State pilgrims from the state will pay amounts slightly above 1.5 million naira. Hajj fares still differ from one state to another. Why is this so?
Before 2017, the Commission used to have just two levels of Hajj fare. the Hajj fare for the northern part of Nigeria and the Hajj fare for the southern part of Nigeria. That's because the distance of travel between southern parts of Nigeria and the northern parts of Nigeria differ in terms of the cost of air ticket. But from 2017, the Commission deregulated the issue of Makkah accommodation. Now, that deregulation made it possible for each state to have a quality of accommodation of its choice. So these two things, the distance of the states and the accommodation in Makkah, made each state from the year 2017 to have their own Hajj fare.
A breakdown of the components of the 2019 Hajj fare shows that airfare is $1,500 or 459,000 naira. Pilgrims' accommodation in Mecca and Medina at $1,260, which translates to 385,695 naira. Muna and Arafat tent and other auxiliary services, as well as Ministry of Hajj deposit, is put at nearly $865, equivalent to about 265,000 naira. The pilgrim's basic travel allowance of $800 is equivalent to 244,800 naira, while feeding in Mecca, Medina, Mashair and Jeddah airport cost $370.
The airfare, which is about 31% of the Hajj fare, the pilgrims' accommodation in Mecca and Medina, which makes another 24%, and then the charges in Saudi Arabia, being the transportation, tent charges, and whatever, which makes about 17%. The pilgrims' BTA is about 16% of the total Hajj fare. So, in a general note, this is an outline of the 2019 Hajj fare.
The dollar exchange rate has consistently remained a key factor in determining the total cost of Hajj fare. For instance, in 2009, the airfare was $1,500, with the exchange rate then at 135 naira to the dollar. At this rate, the cost of airfare of $1,500 would just be 202,500 naira. So, while pilgrims are still paying $1,500 airfare in 2019, the exchange rate of 306 naira per dollar brings the cost of airfare for 2019 Hajj to a whopping 459,000 naira.
So if from that angle, if you critically look at it, you can see that no Hajj component has significantly increased. What made the Hajj fare to hike is solely responsible from the exchange rates, the prevailing exchange rate. So prevailing exchange rate is a determining factor of airfare hike.
The increase in exchange rate is also reflected in other dollar-related components of the Hajj fare. NAHCON is conscious of this and has taken measures to mitigate the effect of the increase in the exchange rate over the years by negotiating with service providers both in Nigeria and in Saudi Arabia.
That's why we had to, after the signing of Memorandum of Understanding with the Saudi authority in December, we had to go into pre-contract agreement with our service providers in Saudi Arabia, with the airlines here in Nigeria, that they will maintain the charges as that of 2018. And this go a long way to make sure that we're able to stabilize the price.
The Naira-related charges, which make up the 2% of the Hajj fare, are in respect of the following items: development fee, uniforms, suitcases, yellow card, registration form, as well as administrative charges for states and NAHCON.
The NAHCON and the states, we have only 2 charges. Administrative charge of less than 5,000 naira. And that's the Hajj Development Levy, which the Commission collects for the development of departure centers across the country. It's not even meant for the Commission. It's for the development of the various Hajj camp, transit camp across the country. Because as it is, we can no longer depend on the federal government to fund some of these projects. Because the federal government too has a lot. That's why we use that as alternative source of fund to be able to give the pilgrims the best right before they leave Nigeria. If you go across some of the departure zones, you will see development of hotel-like accommodation being put up in some of these centers. These are from this fund that is being paid by pilgrims.
NAHCON is successfully managing the US dollar components, and a consistent reduction has been achieved, which led to the current Hajj fare of a little more than 1.4 million naira, as against the widely speculated 1.8 million naira.
Barakallah, that was quite educative. The Hajj fare is a product of several considerations, top of which is the dollar rate. What the National Hajj Commission is promising Nigerians, however, is that it will do everything within its powers to ensure that they get the fairest rates for the best services. Our quiz segment is next. Get your pen and phones ready. You may just be the lucky one.
الله ربنا هو الإله له من الأسماء ما اصطفاه الواحد الحي كذا المليك.
Welcome to the quiz segment. Our question last week was, the 11th, 12th and 13th of Zulhajj is a period pilgrims stay in Mina. By what name is the period known? The correct answer is Ayamun Tashriq. The winner of last week's quiz is Ruqayya Bala Ibrahim of number 68 Mohammed Bernu Street, Jos, Plateau State. Ruqayya Ibrahim will be contacted on how NAHCON will get her prize across. For this week, the question is, name the place where pilgrims spend the night after the stay on the plains of Arafat. I repeat, name the place where pilgrims spend the night after the stay on the plains of Arafat. Text your answer to the number showing on your screen. The winner will be the first person whose correct answer is received. All answers should carry the name and location of sender. Good luck and happy viewing.
Welcome
back. Ihram is a pillar of Hajj. For intending pilgrims, the declaration of intent and the donning of Ihram is mandatory. To know more about this rite, Dr. Tukur Adam Al-Manar is our guest on Hajj Talk. Let's listen to him.
إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك.
Declaring intention and assuming the state of Ihram is one of the pillars of Hajj or Umrah. Pilgrims must be in the state of Ihram before crossing a point called the Miqat. How should pilgrims make the intention? What are those acts allowed or prohibited after assuming Ihram?
Being that it is haram for you to spray perfume.
On Hajj Talk tonight, Dr. Muhammad Tukur Adam Al-Manar provides answers to these and other questions.
There are 3 categories of Hajj. We have At-Tamattu, we have Al-Qiran, then Al-Ifrat. So all these categories or types of Hajj, no any intending pilgrim will start them without starting with Al-Ihram. Al-Ihram is, uttering the type, the intention. So it has a place where those intending pilgrims are expected to go and utter their intention there. Like we have Al-Juhufa. For example, for West African, including Nigeria, is a station where they should go and utter their, intention. Any intending pilgrim that did not, attend Ihram, so his Hajj is incomplete and is null and void.
When declaring intention, pilgrims will be required to take ritual bath, cut their nails and hair, among others.
He shaved his armpits and his private parts, cut his nails, wear his 2 wrappers. So he will go and pray 2 rakats at that place, particular place. Then he utter the type of the pilgrimage he want to offer. He want to, offer. If it is tamattu, he can say, Labbaik Allahumma umratan mutamatti'an ilal hajj.
Pilgrims are expected to start chanting the talbiyah after declaring intention.
The talbiyah means Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. That is talbiyah. Talbiyah means labbaik means I answer your call, O Allah. Labbaik la sharika lak, I answer to your call and you have no any partner. It's only you, Allah. La sharika lak, innal hamda, all the praises, wan ni'mata and bounties, laka, they are from you. Wal mulk, all the power is for you, Allah. So as if you are declaring that the oneness of Allah, that Allah is one and the only one who has no any partner. You are refreshing your tawheed.
When pilgrims are in their ihram, they are prohibited from having sexual intercourse with their spouses, hunting of animals, using scent on their body or on the white garment, cutting their hair, nails, or anything on the skin, as well as engage in vulgar talks or arguments. What happens when pilgrims violate these rules intentionally or unintentionally?
Allah has forgiven the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on all the actions they did out of forgetfulness or mistakes or under duress. So they are forgiven. But doing it intentionally is not allowed. So the penalty there is to sacrifice ram.
However, pilgrims can wear wristwatches and rings.
Rings and eyeglasses, earpiece, using umbrella during sunny, weather, and belt, to support the wrapper that he put on his body, and all those are not prohibited; they are allowed.
Dr. Muhammad Tukur Adam advised prospective pilgrims to seek knowledge of Hajj and Umrah in order to earn themselves Hajj Mabrur.
MashaAllah. That's it on tonight's episode of As You Answer the Call. I hope you have learned something. Join me again same time next week for another episode of the program. Good night, and I wish you Hajj Mabrur.
والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك